Game 2 head towards you on Monday between the Nuggets and the Clippers after an overtime thriller. Will Denver's defense be able to stand up again to the Clippers? Will the offense come through for Denver? Will Chris Dunn make some more threes? Will Russell Westbrook ever play that well in a playoff game ever again? We have questions. We got answers, hopefully, on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Being with us every day, Monday through Friday, hanging out with us, being an everydayer, being one of those true sickos, hanging out with us through all the Nug life, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and all that and more. On today's show, we'll break down game 2 of Nuggets Clippers, what we expect, rotation adjustments, scheme adjustments. What are going to be the keys in this game? How is the series going to evolve after a thrilling game 1 overtime win by the Nuggets? We'll talk ephemeral stuff. We'll talk tactical stuff. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty basketball goodness here on Locked On Nuggets. We'll also go around the NBA. My name is Matt Moore. I'm a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I have a Substack you can check out about the Denver Nuggets called thedenverdig.com. Ryan Blackburn's at Mile High Sports. You should catch his work over there at MHS. And on the Pickaxe and Roll podcast, where he does long form, deep dive, all sorts of stuff. Great previews for all these playoff games. So make sure to go check out his stuff and support Ryan over at Mile High Sports. If you choose to celebrate, happy Easter. Hope you guys had a good one. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $250 in bonus bets. You can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Ryan Blackburn, we've had a day to think about it, to recover from the game 1 thriller. Yep. Where are you at right now in terms of how you feel about the series after game 1?
So going back and kind of rewatching some things, I think there are definitely things that Denver can get better at. There are definitely things that they can adjust to. There's also a lot of things, and probably more things, that the Clippers can get better at than where they were in game 1. The first thing notably is the turnovers, where you commit 20 turnovers, several of them not truly unforced, but situations that playoff teams should be prepared for. They made mistakes, they made sloppy passes. Denver wasn't immune to that, but I feel like the Clippers have more opportunities to improve in how they are attacking Denver than Denver has in attacking the Clippers. But Denver could also just make more shots and do better in terms of the open shots that they do get. And one notable thing is the Russell Westbrook adjustment and the Chris Dunn adjustment to the Russell Westbrook adjustment, and how they are just living with Russell Westbrook for whatever. Like he went 5 of 17. It ultimately bore fruit for the Clippers in overtime. But if Russ can just hit a couple shots and punish that, or cause the ball to get to another shooter, there's a lot of opportunities for Denver to be better than where they were even in overtime in this past game.
A lot of comments in the YouTube section here at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. We're under 100, by the way, before 10,000. We're going to get there. So if we look at the box, like who missed shots, and one of the comments was like, well, MPJ hit some shots. MPJ only took 4 shots.
Yeah, that wasn't the problem.
Like he was 1 or 2 from 3. But here's a question. Do you think that MPJ not shooting lowers the offensive efficiency?
I don't know. I think that, so here's how I framed it in my article about MPJ getting benched and about how he can kind of adjust to that. I think that anytime that Kawhi Leonard is guarding Michael Porter, that's a win for Denver. It's an opportunity for them to improve with the rest of the other 4 guys, get good shots without involving Kawhi Leonard. And anytime Kawhi Leonard decides to change his matchup, or the Clippers decide like they get cross-matched and Kawhi's guarding somebody else, then that's where Michael Porter can start getting involved. And rather than just be a floor spacer, rather than just be an occasional backdoor cutter or anything like that, he can start getting involved when Norman Powell and James Harden are on him. If he cannot punish Norman Powell or James Harden, that is where the problems occur. But if he is taking 0 shots, then that's okay, as long as it's like Kawhi is the one who's attached to him, trying to prevent him from doing those things. It helps Denver out. How this kind of really crystallized for me, Al Horford took 1-3 in the game today for Boston. 1. I know this because I bet on him making 2. But the reason why it was so important for him to just be out there was because he was a threat. He was somebody that they couldn't leave, and it allowed other guys to shine. They couldn't leave Al Horford because they know how dangerous he is. So I think that there's so many ways for Porter to be impactful, and he just has to know that it may not be scoring in which he is impactful. So I don't think it's just a problem if he doesn't take shots. Other guys can't step up and make more shots in his place.
Like, I think that the spacing is important. I don't know. I guess here's a good question. If it's Harden or Powell, what do you want him to do? Like,
I want him to get involved in a DHO game. I would like him to try to run those guys through screens.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Why? Okay. So here's a question. Let's say it's Batum minutes, and they're having Batum guard Yoke.
Okay.
Do you want MPJ trying to dribble against Nick Batum if he darts out and tries to contest that? If he shows
no,
you?
Because if the switch occurs, then you've done your job and you pass the ball into Jokic at that point as he posts.
What if it's just like a quick jab at MPJ? Like, is MPJ going to be able to get that wet quick feet? Like, I don't know. I don't really know if I want him involved in DHL. Like, I get it, and he was good this season early on, but like, I don't really think the MPJ needs to be dribbling in the series.
That's fine. Like, he doesn't have to dribble extensively. I think there's a couple of ways that he can approach it. He shouldn't give up his dribble. Like, he shouldn't take one dribble and then immediately stop like he does frequently. He shouldn't start the dribble until he feels like there is a purpose to starting said dribble, and then if he just can't immediately give it up. There's also ways that this is why he is not as versatile of a shooter as you would want in this moment. You want somebody like, the theorized version of Julian Strawther, somebody who could stretch the defense out, pull the defender away. And when you've got a guy like Batum that jumps out on Porter in that situation, the goal should be to dribble to the sideline or dribble to as far away from Jokic as possible to either force the switch or force the recovery, and then to have an open shot in that situation.
They'll just bring they will bring someone random will just dart out there and probably hit him blindside, just take that. Like, I just don't.
Okay, that's fine. But if that is the reason, then they should have traded him. This is the
okay. We can't go there. We gotta deal with this series and where we're at right now. That's a question for future, Ryan.
No, well, so this is the problem. So if that is the case, if it is not something that he is capable of doing, then they are going to have to make a sub. They're not going to have him out there, and that's kind of where we're getting at in this. Denver's going to probably be in a situation where he can't play, but they should be trying to get him to be playable in this series, because, as you have said, they may need him in a future one if they get through it.
So 4:34 fourth quarter. Kawhi's hanging out on Christian.
Yeah.
And Harden is taking Westbrook.
Yeah.
And Batum is guarding Gordon.
Yeah.
And actually Harden's guarding Murray, and DJJ is actually guarding Russ. So a lot of this was ironically what the Clippers did was it was really interesting in that fourth quarter. This is how I read it when I went back and watched. They tried to send a triple team at the 2-man game. Everyone was kind of they're just blindly doubling. It wasn't really that. If you watch it, they're positioning themselves in between when it's Murray on the left wing and Jokic at the top. The defenders in between them literally being we are not going to let you get to 2-man game. Like, you are not running 2-man game against us. We don't care what Russell Westbrook does.
Do you want me to show the screenshot real quick?
I don't think it'll show well, but go for it.
Okay, so for those that are watching, I can actually let's throw it on.
Full screen.
Let's throw it on this one instead. It's a little bit easier. It's not clean, but this is the play that Russ was able to like make the open three. It was a wide open three. You can see in all of these sequences 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that Dunn has just left Russ entirely on this play. And the goal for them, the Clippers, is to not allow Jokic or Murray to shoot the basketball. And by having Dunn in that situation, you don't want to dribble around that guy because he's one of the best thieves in the entire NBA. So Denver, like if Denver's going to close with Russ, if they're going to close even with Peyton Watson, with Jalen Pickett, with some of these guys that are unproven, they are going to face a similar defense and they're going to have to be ready for it. They did a really good job of avoiding turnovers in this last game. I think it was just 11 or 12. So if that's the case, they have a really good chance. If the Clippers can force more turnovers, that will be an issue.
One of the things I think that was, we'll talk more about the strategic stuff coming up, but one of the things I thought was really notable is on top of leaving Russ open, and we'll talk some about like what that meant for him and the navigation of space and why I think it's important, like why it's more about the MPJ stuff in regards to that. But one thing I will say, the Los Angeles Clippers decided to guard Aaron Gordon with James Harden, which is about as insulting of a move as you can possibly make. We're going to hide our absolute joke of a defender on Aaron Gordon, and AG trucked them with it. Yeah. Like, I'll be very curious. Let's talk about what happens if they decide to get away from that, plus some more stuff about the spacing. And if not MPJ, then who and how to get MPJ going. We'll keep talking about that and some more adjustments, maybe on the defensive side, coming up on Locked On Nuggets. NBA fans, you know what time it is. It's playoff season. That means big performances and even bigger rewards. DoorDash is bringing the heat with a slam dunk deal for DashPass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh, You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more points in a playoff game, DashPass members score a 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more using the code WINGSTOP50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offers valid from noon to midnight the day after the game. What's your go-to move after an epic game? Are you ordering wings and reliving the highlights? Imagine being rewarded with free food just because someone went off for 50. So here's the play. Sign up for DashPass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50 plus in the playoff game, DashPass members, you got to sign up for DashPass, can grab a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the next day with $20 or more order and code WINGSTOP50. That's DashPass, your door to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Now I want wings. I want wings very badly now. All right. So, yeah, for me, this kind of gets into if you want to space them out, but if they start doing stuff like if they decide to close with Powell and putting him on MPJ, or if they go big and they decide to go, Derek Jones Jr. and they're going to hide Harden on MPJ, I don't know what that looks like. I just don't know what that looks like from a counter perspective. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe Mike can crash on slips and cuts. Maybe they can run split action because they had some success in the fourth quarter running some split action stuff. So like maybe that's the answer here, but like I don't have a good idea. Versus one of the things that was interesting is not only there's the corner three, right? And you show those highlights. By the way, one small note. A good job by Russ to take that pass and lean into it, drifting to the left, so he winds up on a corner three and not above the break. It's like a little thing there that I thought was good.
Yeah, it also makes the distance covered that much further for the defender.
He had a slip inside for another bucket that was entirely generated by the same kind of coverage that they sent at him, where like he's just wide open in the paint and Harden's not guarding him. Yeah. So Russ can make those types of plays. Here's what's really funny is like, Russ missing layups. Russ misses layups when he dribbles full speed at the rim. He doesn't miss layups usually, knock on wood. Like when it's like a slip cut a dart in a dunker spot move. He makes those pretty regularly. So
Denver was able to get to that, by the way, pretty frequently, even in the fourth quarter. It's one of the ways that they're able to come back and then ultimately take a lead in this game was because they were not guarding Russ, they were not trusting Russ. They had James Harden on him a lot of that time, and James Harden gets a little bit lost. And when you're doubling Jokic and you're rotating on every other guy, you can lose Russ at times when he is lurking. So really good stuff from him. Like, he does have a lot of great opportunities to shine and continue to be out there in this series. I'm not surprised that he's kind of the guy that they're trusting at this moment. It might be a different guy going forward, but I do think that he has earned the right just by being in the right place and doing the right things, even if the result isn't always perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, look, as long as he continues to make those plays, that's what's really, I think, kind of key. Defensively in this game, is there anything that you think the Nuggets need to tighten up on? I'm pretty happy with the game plan. I think overall, once they got to the like after whatever that first quarter was, I feel like they were able to get to the kind of stuff that they needed to get to. Like Gordon on Kawhi is a good matchup. Kawhi doesn't seem super interested in challenging him. They keep trying to run pick and rolls and then they blitz him. Harden, I think Christian Brown does a really good job on him. I would like to see more Peyton Watson, I think, in game 2. Like, that to me is like an adjustment here, but it's also like, well, who's losing minutes? And I'm like,
I mean, like, Russ played 35. Like, he finished the regular kind of 48 minutes with 30 minutes total. So there are plenty of opportunities for Denver to go a couple of different ways with that to try to get Peyton some more time. Also, like, they played Murray 42 in regulation. They played Christian Brown 40. Getting one of those two guys a little bit of a break, particularly Brown, I think could be helpful, especially when James Harden is not on the floor. So just do everything that you can to get some of those guys a little bit of time. And Peyton, I think, can really help. It's not a surprise that he was good in this game defensively. I wanted to see if I could pull up the actual on-off numbers for him in terms of his on-off defensive rating, because I think it was very, very high. Or like very, very good is what I meant. Just looking at it now, Peyton Watson, 81.8 defensive rating when he was on the floor in 14 minutes. 63 offensive rating, so not great. They still have to clean up the second unit offense, the non-Jokic minute offense. That was really bad and something that they got to get better at.
David Shea, SL does not have to change. I don't know what that means. SL?
Summer League.
Oh, Russ is still more destructive than not. His good moments just happen to be in the clutch. We have to be realistic. He may need to get 25 minutes a game this series. Maybe.
I feel like I've been pretty consistent on that for what it's worth. 20 to 25 minutes is about where it needs to be. And if he closes, it might even be higher than that. So it's how it goes. And Russ, I think, as the intensity continues to ratchet, as the pressure continues to get higher, I'm curious to see where he goes. It's like he has had great moments in the playoffs before, but he's also a 17-year vet who is at the end of a long regular season and a very arduous regular season. So he's played a very big role for Denver this year, and nobody should be questioning that at this point. He will be an available player for them going forward.
Alex says if Jokic ends up outside, he can hit threes too. He didn't in this one. He didn't shoot as many as I think he could have, which was an interesting decision and kind of proof that you can't really predict what Joker's going to do. It's entirely based off of feel. Says, who would you start over MPJ, Peyton or Russ? I don't think you need to start anybody over him.
No, I think it's fine to keep Porter out there. You want the spacing out there for as long as possible. Like you do.
No, I think it's more a matter of if you bench him, I think you lose him. I don't think you need the spacing in this series. I just don't. I don't think that
you don't think the Clippers like literally running a third player at Jokic and Murray consistently throughout this game is going to screw some things up?
No, because that means the paint's open. Joker's not going to they're not at the nail. They're if they're going to do that, they're just going to run it high. And you've got that space underneath. That's how they got that really easy dunk at 2:56 fourth quarter. Is I I get it. Look, I get it because like you're spacing. Like we can admit, like, we can admit this. You're a spacing dude. Yes,
it's that they took 27 total threes, and the math is not going to math for them if they don't win the possession battle every single time.
The Clippers don't take them either. That's the thing, man. Is like they don't want to take them. That's what's weird about this series.
Yeah,
is it's like Harden can get to the rack whenever he wants to, and he can get to that step back three.
Man, Kawhi took 3. Holy cow, Kawhi! Like Nicholas Batum needs to play more in this series. He might play over Norman Powell. Like I'm not even kidding. There are going to be moments where
that would be an adjustment. I don't like that's one thing I think that they're calling for is like to not play. Like Clippers fans do not want Powell to play. They want Batum to play more because he's able to hit those kind of threes. You need the spacing.
Dude's a monster.
But like this, I'll just tell you, like Ty Lue built a 3-point volume team in 2021, and they would have won the finals if Kawhi doesn't get hurt. Or at least made the finals. It would beat the Suns. I don't know if they beat the Bucks. But like since then, it's not what he does, man. Like this isn't a 3-point shooting team. So this is kind of my point. Is like, do you need to keep up?
I just don't think that Denver's going to win the turnover battle as much as they were. Like they were out forced turnovers to them 20-11. Like that's just it's not going to happen again. That's not.
But here's the problem: is like if you're not going to have the turnovers, you need better defense, which means you need to not play Michael Porter Jr.
Right? Well, no, I mean the turnovers were them forcing like they forced a lot of those turnovers by the Clippers, is what I meant. Like.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if they don't get those turnovers, you're going to need better defense because you're not getting those turnovers anymore.
Or you need better offense to keep pace.
Harden in the second quarter Harden. I mean, I agree with you in general because like I think this can be an offensive series for Denver. Like this is an interesting like here's a really interesting question about game one. Is that was a defensive, grinded out, like tough shots needed, and the Nuggets were the ones that came up with those plays at the end.
Yeah.
We didn't think that they were that team, and Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook were the dudes that came up with those like the offensive rebounds and the putbacks in through contact.
Yeah,
like they were that team. If the Clippers are not that team, which I didn't think they were in the first place, like if they're not that team, I don't know, right? And it's like it's an overtime win. It's an overtime win with all those turnovers. But my counter here would also be like, hey man, what's more likely, Michael Porter Jr. being able to shake loose and create some offense when they figure out that we're just going to put our non-defender on Mike and just leave him out there, or that James Harden hunts him down and starts being like, because he started to figure it out in the second quarter. Like,
no, I can't get there, man. Like, I think that you have to keep trying it. Like you can't, first of all, you earned a credit. You earned a credit with this win. You are in a position now where you can continue to try to help him get there. And the team is going to need that as well. I think you are underrating how much pressure is being put on the paint by the Clippers when they have 5 guys that have feet in the paint at all times for that team. That team is so good defensively.
And why were they able to be more effective without MPJ?
I just think that you remove a guy from the paint in that case.
But if it's James Harden, does that matter?
I think, okay. So you do not think that Porter can get involved at all when James Harden is when he is playing. Like, so Harden is guarding him and Zubac is the one that guards Jokic, like he mostly does. Then why can't they try to run Harden through a DHO?
To get what?
To get an open 3 for him.
To get a step back DHO 3?
He's made several of them in his career, Matt. Like this isn't a situation where like it's not.
I'm asking you. No. I'm asking you. Is that what you want?
I think that those are good throughout the game at times. Okay. I don't think you go to them all the time.
That's okay. We could just disagree on that.
Yeah, like this is.
I want the hustle plays from Russ. Like I want the plays that actually can impact the game. Like it's okay.
No. Here's the other thing. Is you said this yesterday that Denver is down to like 5.5 guys that they can play.
Yeah,
he's just 5.5.
But Hurricane in the comment section was like, he's just going to play guys. Like we can't. There's nobody else.
Yeah, and so Denver's going to figure it out. And I think like here's another thing that our good friend Michael Malone would say: if the thing doesn't work, Do you just go away from it, or do you try to do it better?
Yeah.
And I think that they can do it better.
So you think in a game versus the Los Angeles Clippers with this type of defense, with this type of personnel, the Nuggets need to try and run more DHO action to get Michael Porter Jr.
Not
involved?
more. They need to be better at it. They need to be more choosy with it. They need to, like, if it's Kawhi out there, he's done his job. He does not need to be involved. He can go stand in the left corner.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
If
Absolutely.
it is James Harden, be better at it.
And what if he can't?
Then he'll get benched.
92.3 offensive rating with Aaron Gordon or with Michael Porter Jr. on the floor in this game.
Yeah, not great.
Was the final note on that. Up
also,
next,
like second unit minutes really affected that for what it's worth.
Okay, I'll check on some of those numbers next. Up next, we'll talk about. I want to talk about like the emotional, ephemeral, non-basketball side of this, and then we'll check in around the league. We'll do that next here on Locked On Nuggets. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. I've been betting overtimes. I bet overtime on Nuggets Clippers. Give that as the best bet. It hit. I gave it out on Heat Hawks. That hit. I've given it out consistently. I did have it on Rockets Warriors, and stupid Moses Moody put it away, and then the Steph did the Steph.
Jalen Green.
Yeah, Jalen Green was rough. I had Jimmy Butler over on points. That's another good one. For tomorrow, I think I'm probably going to be on Nicholas Batum over on 3-pointers because I think that Nick Batum's going to play a little bit more. You can bet in all sorts of ways at FanDuel. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. Ryan, here's a question. What do you think is the emotional impact of this game for the Clippers? Because, like, on the one hand, it seems too obvious, but then I've also looked at some numbers. The record for teams coming off an overtime game in round one is bad. It's bad on the road. If you lose the first game in overtime, that second game, you lose. It's like 2-9. So that's interesting. I also think it's like, here's a good question. It's just like, what kind of team do you think the Clippers are? Do you think they're a team that has like a great leadership structure and the guys in the locker room, they're going to rally them and get them here? Or do you think that they're led by Kawhi Leonard and James Harden 48 hours after blowing a 15-point lead?
Yeah, I think that they are led by Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. I think that as great as Kawhi usually is in a playoff environment, he has been less consistent in part due to the physicality, due to the injuries, due to a lot of those factors. And Harden is Harden. He can go from having a 30-10 in one game to having a 20-6 on 2 of 12 from 3 in the next game. And that is just kind of been who he is. So there's absolutely a world where they react to that first game and think, you know what? That was the one that we wanted to get. We're going to give it a good old college try in the first half. But if we get hit in the mouth a little bit, then could they fold a little bit in the second game? Like there's at least a possibility. But like I also kind of think about it from Denver's side and how they can feel like, oh, Porter had 3 points. Murray went 7 of 20 and they won.
Can I just make a little comment? It is hilarious, you and I's like roller coaster with Michael Porter Jr. because you have both ardently defended him and then also critically like begged to remove him from the team completely. And like I can never get an act like I do not know where you're going to be on MPJ on any given show.
Let me ask you this, and like we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. Would they have been better with Zach LaVine in place of him?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I think they're about the same, just different.
Yep. Jokic with MPJ, by the way, or Jokic here. Porter without Jokic in 7 minutes, 60 offensive rating. Yep, you're right. It was absolutely that. Jokic with Porter, only a 111.4 offensive rating. Not good enough.
And Jokic's offensive rating without Porter was higher than that. It was.
It was, sir. No, higher would be like 119. It was 130.
Yeah, no, like it was. Wait, let me say. way higher than that. There's no doubt in my mind that like there are some good things that they can do without Porter. I'm not going to sit here and overly defend him. This is just an opportunity for Denver to have a guy that can soak up some minutes and make some shots and do some of the things that the team wasn't able to do as a whole in game one.
There's people in the comment section that think that I'm agreeing with them. I just want to be clear. I'm not. I think there's series where MPJ can play. It's just not this one. And if you're like, well, which one's, Matt? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen him yet. Like once I actually don't mind the Thunder one. I don't mind that one. I think there's ways for him to play in that series. Do not think this is not. I mean, listen, this is confirmation bias. It's like when I sat down and did the analysis, like the first thing I wrote down was like, oh, this is not a Michael Porter Jr. series under no circumstances. The emotional side of it, I think, is really interesting because maybe we're wrong. And like maybe this team really does like the Clippers rally and they take game 2 because they're going to be like, we had a 15-point lead. All we had to do was not turn the ball over. It took them to get into overtime and Russ had to hit a corner 3.
Yeah.
At the same time, Kawhi didn't, Kawhi will probably put a stamp on the game tomorrow. I don't think of him as like a guy that's like, the narrative then would be like Kawhi knew it was needed and he stepped up to the challenge. And that's like not how Kawhi is, man. He's just like, sometimes he takes over a game and sometimes he doesn't. And he's elite and efficient. And when he looks awesome, everyone falls over themselves. And when he disappears and vanishes, nobody says anything about him. And it's just like the same stuff with him over and over and over again. Harden, I think, is probably going to be like, I can cook here. Like, he's going to feel great after game 1. Being like, I can do this. Because like Christian, I think, played pretty good defense and still can't do anything with him. And Peyton Watson, I think, is the only one that can really bother him. And they are not willing to go to Peyton enough yet. And so I think that there's opportunities. Now, I do think he was surprised by how Jokic defended him late for like fourth quarter. I think he was like, what?
He was surprised by that going forward, I don't think, at least not to the degree that he was.
Yeah. So
moving real quick, we have to talk about Murray. I don't think that they really need to change much with Murray to get him going. He's just got to make the shots that he generates.
I thought he got good shots. I don't like, Tony Jones was like, hey, did you see what Chris Dunn did to him? And I was like, I don't think he did anything to him. I think Jamal got, especially when I went back, I think Jamal got great shots. He just missed them. Yes. And like some of that is like, you can rush a guy. I know what Jamal looks like when he's rushed. I'm just telling you, maybe Chris is able to bother him and shut him down. And if he does, like, I'll give Chris Dunn credit. I love Chris Dunn. I would have voted him DPOY if he was eligible this year and I had to vote. But
I kind of think, that Derek Jones is the one for them to, if they're really trying to wall off Murray in some of these plays, like you want the guy that's as springy as possible, not necessarily the guy that's like trying to poke the ball away consistently. Like Dunn is more reminiscent of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who Murray was able to figure out in that series against the T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards is like Kawhi Leonard, and Jaden McDaniels is like Derek Jones Jr. to me. So it's a different dynamic for sure. I think that Murray's going to be just fine. Do you want to talk about any of the other series?
I think Rockets are dead in the water. I don't see them being able to even I don't know how this is going to go, but like the hope for me, because I took the Rockets, was like the Warriors. I still don't believe in, and I still don't believe in them. I still don't. Like, this is more about the Rockets just not having that guy and being too dependent on Jalen Green. Like, Amen Thompson, once he got to actually get opportunities to be the guy in the fourth quarter, was ready to step up and be a 16-gamer. And maybe they'll put Jabari Smith Jr. in and play more through him. But, like, they got sunk by Jalen Green tonight. Fred VanVleet took good shots and missed them. That's different than Jalen Green. The Lakers-Wolves series, I don't know what to make of that. Wolves had the best EFG of any team this weekend, but they also had the third best expected EFG. They shot really great on great looks, and this is like at the trade deadline when they made the trade, I was like, oh, the defense is going to be terrible, and then it was really good, and then it was awful. And I don't know what to make of Lakers Wolves. What do you think?
I was on Lakers in 7 before the first game, but that Wolves win was, and like the reason why I had Lakers in 7 was entirely because I respect the Wolves and I respect what they're going to be able to do. Very curious that it was not a Rudy Gobert game. It was clearly a Naz Reid game, clearly Julius Randle battling with LeBron James. Anthony Edwards, if he is on the floor, he can do a lot of great things for them. And then Jaden McDaniels, like he made some, I'll say comments after the game about being the tallest player on the team when Jackson Hayes wasn't out there. So thought that was very curious. And Maybe the Lakers adjust and have Jackson Hayes out there, but if it's not him or Alex Len, that's going to be kind of how it is against the T-Wolves.
Yeah. Eastern Conference, the Celtics were like, the Magic did so much right today, and they just don't have enough offense. They just don't. It's just, it sucks that Suggs is out, but it also just sucks that like, I've been thinking about this today. Like, do I blame the Magic for not going and getting like CJ McCollum? And it's like, is that a long-term fit? Like, don't you want to go try and get like the guy? You want to get like, whether it's Trae Young or whoever, like you want to go get the guy. And they don't have the guy that they need as a guard. You need a guard who's good enough to step up and make threes and create offense that isn't so good that he takes the ball away from Paolo and Franz. And I don't know how you balance that. I don't know who that guy is. Okay. Moving on. Heat Cavs will be quick. Thunder Grizzlies will be quick.
Gosh, the Grizzlies were so bad today. It's understandable given that they just played a play-in game.
Were they?
Yeah, I think.
No.
Well, it wasn't like it was mostly about the Thunder just being an absolute titan of God.
It's OKC. It's OKC. Like, here's the thing: if you're going up against the OKC Thunder, if you're like, what are the two most important things that you need? You need a great wing defender, and you need a small ball five. Brandon Clark's out. Jalen Wells is out. Jaren Jackson Jr. I knew his numbers versus Isaiah Hartenstein are atrocious, and you saw it today. Like, he's not there. Jaren gets better every single year. He's not there yet. He gets better every single year. By the time Jaren's 28, Jaren's going to be a really great player. He's way better than he was 3 years ago. He's not good enough yet. Ja, I thought, was fine today. Desmond was not good. Des was bad. But like, the other thing is just like, I don't know what you're going to do when you have a plotting center that can't do absolutely anything for you versus the Thunder team. And then you want to go in small. Marvin Bagley played pretty well. Shout out Marvin Bagley, who's a rotation player.
I watched Jay Huff drop a ball off of his foot and kick it out of bounds and thought
but in November when he was killing it, oh man,
it was really funny. Is there any other like Pacers Bucks?
I thought Bucks were going to win that series, but then it took 5 minutes for me to realize that Doc Rivers is the coach of the Bucks, so they're screwed. Like, one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen done in a playoff game. And then after the game, them asking about the starting unit and really pressing him on it, and he's just like, well, no, it's the thing we talked about. You just got to do better. And it's like, there's no way for you to do better with this configuration, sir. Like, Kyle Kuzma and Brook Lopez with Giannis, you cannot win this way. This is like, everything that you have accomplished over the last 3 weeks is because Giannis and 4 shooters, preferably Bobby. Brook's fine, just don't have Kuzma out there. But he doesn't have the authority to bench him because they traded Chris Middleton for him. A disaster all the way around. It's probably going to lead to Giannis being gone, which sucks.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of discussions about that in the offseason, unfortunately. And like, it's just kind of how it goes. That's the life cycle of the NBA. Knicks in 5, that one I feel pretty much is going to hold.
I think you're being optimistic there. Pistons did a lot of good things there. Now I think they'll win, but 5 I think is aggressive there.
They're not ready. Like
I think that's such like a look. The Knicks went on a 21-0 run, and I get it. And JB Bickerstaff is I do not think he's a good playoff coach. I think he's a great regular season coach. I think he's not a good playoff coach. I hear what you're saying, and I don't think you're necessarily wrong, but I think it's like, isn't that a little bit confirmation bias? To be like,
yeah, of course it is.
So
like, I won't cop to that, but I also think that it's the right thing. I also think that, like, what do we do? Like, you're relying on Malik Beasley to carry the bench offense.
Yeah, that's the problem. Well, here's the thing: you're not supposed to. It's Jaden Ivey.
Yes, and so they're gonna be fine. Like,
yeah,
that team's gonna be really good. Like,
I don't understand, Ryan. They've got all young guys. I don't understand why they're not. Why you're not believing that they're unstoppable. That's gonna do it for Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys have yourselves a great day. Enjoy the game. We'll be back with you after the game for reactions to Game 2. We'll break it all down here on Locked On Nuggets.
He did it again.
Old guys are good.